Welcome to the PDX files. Each week we dive into the weird and the unexplained here in the Pacific Northwest and beyond. My name is Peej.
And I'm Mac.
Mac, what are we talking about today?
Well, today we are getting into a very interesting subject. To me, anyway. So I've always loved watching Ghost Hunters episodes.
Yeah.
And because I thought that they were the best at the time, they were the gold standard when I was sort of starting out with this. Like as a kid, I was already thought that might be a good idea for a show, but I'm just a little kid, right? But so I feel like, but there are other shows throughout the world that kind of were inspired by that movement back in the early 2000s and the mid 2000s, right?
Right.
And so we're going to kind of take a look at what I guess people thought were scary at the time or were not. I tend to think that most of the things that we see on TV are not real, but some of them are. With an open mind, we have to look at that.
Yeah, so obviously we're going to be as usual. And for this particular episode, we'll have a video that we'll be watching and reacting to. We'll be pausing in parts and commenting. And we'd love to hear your thoughts as we go along as well.
Let's do it.
What was that?
What?
Dude, I just saw a black mass.
A black mass?
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 actually scary moments from paranormal investigation shows.
This is terrifying. Hello?
For this list, we'll be looking at the most nerve-wracking experiences and unsettling evidence captured by professional ghost hunters for our entertainment. We'll only look at shows that prioritize an investigation as opposed to reenactments or storytelling, as horrifying as they may be. Which paranormal encounter makes your skin crawl? Let us know in the comments below. Number 10. Walking full-body apparition. Ghosts of Morgan City. This team of investigators set out to solve the unexplained phenomena occurring in Morgan City, Louisiana. In the third episode, the trio responds to reports of strange activity at Idlewild Plantation. It has everything between rituals and a floating blue shirt.
A blue shirt was just floating with no hands, no head, no legs.
With the building supposedly empty, investigator Ben is completely caught off guard as he reviews electronic voice phenomenon EVP footage. The camera reveals a full-bodied, semi-transparent apparition crossing the hallway. Such evidence
Nobody
is
uses
so
those
rare,
terms.
it may easily be contested. But the crew determined the figure possibly belonged to a nurse from the early 1900s. With the pieces coming together, the wandering apparition becomes even more chilling.
You can literally see through it, dude. You can see the background as it walks through right there on the bottom.
No.
So, they're using a bunch of bullshit terms, which they do on TV, and that's completely fine. I don't really have any problem with that. That was actually fairly compelling footage. Now, it's either fake or it's not. But that didn't look to me like there was. I don't know. I guess there's a way to fake it, right?
The floating blue shirt looked pretty fake.
Well,
At least that particular footage. Or was that a reenactment?
Yes, that was a
supposed to be a
reenactment.
reenactment?
Yeah,
Okay, got it.
and I'd say that anybody who was looking at my face would probably be able to tell. Like, no, that's a bunch of nonsense.
Well, no, the way the Watch Mojo got queued it up was that they weren't going to show reenactment, so that's why I was trying to figure that out.
It was totally fake at that first part, but that one bit of footage is not bad, and that was a long time ago. I think I don't guess just last year, but it's not enough. It could definitely be faked, but if it was faked, it was really good.
Yeah, well, anyway, I think I'll save my full comments regarding video footage until the very end. But we ready for the next clip here?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
They're startled by the unmistakable sound of a door creaking to a close.
What was that? What the hell is that? Dude, that was like a high squeak of a door or something.
Following the sound, Tanner spots a cold mass on his thermal camera, alerting the pair that they're not alone.
What was that?
What? What?
Dude, I just saw a black mass.
A black mass?
Dude, it was like, I don't even know, it was just like a black circle.
On your thermal, on your night vision?
On my thermal.
On the thermal. That means it's freezing cold.
What's worse, Alex gets a disturbing call from Tanner, except Tanner doesn't have his phone.
What? Tanner? What is that?
The team scrambles to find the prank caller to no avail, leaving viewers tantalized and terrified about what lurks in the asylum's halls.
What happened? Dude,
So that's bullshit. That's all bullshit right there, right? Isn't it?
Wait.
I mean, I feel like that is like clearly fake. And
Well, explain why you feel that it's fake.
I mean, because it's all too like scripted and like, I didn't see any like okay, there might have been a cold mass in the area, but it wasn't like shaped as a spirit. Like we've seen some shit. Hey,
Right.
We've seen some shit like on some of those cameras, and it's not like that. So to me, that just looked like a cold spot. Not necessarily like an actual spirit, just kind of a cold spot in the area where there might be more cold air coming down, and it's nothing to do with spirits. And like, oh, somebody called them. Like, who? As any serious investigator watching this is gonna like, no, we have not received a fucking phone call. Come on.
Well, here's the
Ridiculous.
thing. Here's the thing. I mean, I think a general observation that I have with these paranormal shows is, I mean, like the believability factor, I think, is impacted by how sensationalized the presentation is, right? So, you've got those yahoos in the last clip were all, oh my God, they were reacting so,
Like, oh, look at what I got here. Look
they
at
were
the
reacting
thing.
so largely
Bunch of
and so
morons.
wildly. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, it's not fair to characterize as morons, but
they may not be morons, but the way they're acting is.
well,
as a
and that's the
moron.
thing, right? The way they're presenting it kind of like makes you indeed question the validity of what they're saying. I mean, scripted or not, I mean, obviously it has to be scripted in such a way that they have to tell a compelling story. But just again, like, oh my God, did you just see that type of thing? First of all,
Nobody does that,
a true paranormal investigator would say something, and then
but not like that.
not like that. And I mean, and I don't know. I mean, and I'm probably ruining it for the rest of this video of the Watch Mojo video, but hopefully,
there's actually some pretty good clips that we have to come. But I mean, this
well, I think before the people watching right now, I think they'll see the later clips. There's a stark difference between investigation teams, and then it makes you kind of like figure out who's potentially telling the truth and who's just sensationalizing it. All right, we'll continue here.
The Haunted Hunts. In the second season premiere of this UK paranormal series, the investigators begin their multi-episode exploration of the famously haunted city of Chester. After learning about potential ghost sightings at the Chester Rose, the team set up camp in hopes of spotting one. Though doubtful of seeing an actual ghost, Danny readies a full spectrum camera. And yet, as a perfect primer for what the city has to offer, he captures a photo of a mysterious woman in a black dress. Knowing the streets were empty and the photos preceding and following this shot did not achieve the same results, it's possible he found an unsuspecting apparition out in the open. Even ghosts need to get out sometimes.
I mean, what is a full spectrum camera? Do you know what that means? Because honestly, I really don't.
Well, I mean,
I probably should have done more research, but I don't understand what that means.
Well, it just catches all of the light variations, right? You've got your infrared, you've got your infrablue. I have no idea, but in terms of all the actual light light spectrum, but it just captures everything.
I just never heard of that before. It's like I don't understand. It sounds more like to me like the they have like what's like the radio to like catch all of the EVPs, like the
ghost box.
I don't know if I believe that. It's like, although honestly that is fairly compelling, but it might be somebody who they just threw out there as like and then just like took a really grainy photo. You know what I mean?
Or it could be or it could be, I don't know. I know we're kind of just debunking this, and this video is supposed to be about scary or not scary, but
Well,
but for us, I mean, I guess since we're seasoned paranormal investigators, quick big asterisk on that one. But
I think we definitely done
we've
we've done
we've put in the
stuff.
time. We put in the
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
Um,
That
it could,
seems
I
like
mean,
bullshit.
who knows? I mean, was it a completely closed set, so to speak? I mean, who knows if there was actually if it was actually supposed to be 100% empty, and light light and shadows can really just play tricks on you also. But obviously
Yep,
the
that's
shape of
true.
it, the shape of it does look like a person or a figure. But again, sometimes with regard to these really blurry photos, I don't know if it's a little iffy.
And I think we've actually seen some evidence of like actual shadow people
Yeah.
previously. This doesn't look like that. This looks like some chick who's wearing a black dress. And to me, I don't give it any credit whatsoever. I'm willing to call it out and they can sue me if they want to, but probably not because we're not going to make any money out of any of this. But I feel like that is fake as shit. And the reason why I kind of looked at this particular video is like, that's not scary. Why is that
Well,
scary
I mean,
to you?
if you're not expecting it, when you take a photo, and then if you're not expecting to find something there and you do,
But again, it shouldn't be scary. It should be interesting and scientifically interesting, to you to like find out what's going on there. I mean, that's clearly fake, at least in
okay.
my opinion. But
All right.
I know I realize I said scary or not scary, but that's just not scary.
Well, to us, to you, and to us, it's not scary. But again, to
Fair.
an
That's fair.
unsuspecting person, just taking photos, and if that happens to show up,
If that was
know,
real, if that's just like a random hell yes, that's
I
like
mean,
scary as shit.
you have a personal connection to that. All right, let's continue.
Let's do this thing.
You are quite as harrowing as Frank's fall in the first season.
I remember this actually.
You okay?
While the team is investigating temperature shifts in the armory's catwalk, the sound man is thrust onto his back from an invisible force.
Something just went right through me.
He describes the sensations behind the traumatizing act, from a sudden coldness to an overwhelming rush of fear.
What'd you feel when you...
I got cold. And then something just right from the floor, it seemed, just came up and just took me up and snapped my head back and just took me off.
It's one thing to see something spooky in the distance, but it's another to be physically affected by it.
Okay. Boom. Bam.
You see the way I like how the ghost hunters like reacted to it. It's like it wasn't like they were trying to like jazz it up.
Right.
Like they were genuinely concerned about a coworker, and the dude was like crying. It's like I don't see these other like douchebags on these other shows like crying and like being very like affected by some of this stuff. And so that was one of the reasons why I really thought that, okay, I understand it's a show and it's like on sci-fi, or I don't even think it was called sci-fi back in those days. It may have been called something else, but it's like I thought that that was more real, like the reactions of the people. And so understanding how kind of people would might react to something like that seemed, it's like, oh yeah. And that's the other thing about early ghost hunters and like kind of maybe seasons, the first 4 seasons of that was like, it seemed like they weren't trying to overreact or trying to like do all the bullshit that all the predecessors did after that, or not the predecessors, but
Successors.
the successors did after that. It's like they were always like, oh my god, this is like what you were saying, this is crazy. Whoa. It's like I felt like they were actually real and they had some experience before that. And I feel like that guy in that particular episode did experience something. I feel that was real.
Yeah, and again, piggybacking what you said about the reaction. I mean, since you and I, and maybe folks who are watching this, some of them have actually done paranormal investigations. it's pretty freaking boring for good stretches of time, right? Because you're literally
Nothing happens. Yeah.
nothing happens. You're investigating in real time, so it's a 3 hour window at the minimum that you're doing just monitoring, looking at monitors, walking around, you know, talking to yourself for the most for the most part, unless you happen to catch an EVP on your recorder.
Which happens,
So,
by the way. So people should. It does happen. Shit fucking happens in this kind of thing. But yeah,
but again, it's fairly boring, in real time. So when you try to capture that in a TV show, you don't want it to be just freaking boring either. You know what I mean? So that's why,
right. Yeah.
I mean, I think some of these shows, I don't know, I can't remember whether Ghost Hunters did like just like spooky music. I'm trying to remember that because I haven't watched a episode of theirs for a long time. But
I mean, I feel like there was something probably underlying in that, but I don't think it was overt by any
right,
way.
yeah,
I think that they really tried their best to like put their best foot forward for the people who were doing the work at the time. This, us basically, trying to do the work, the time and not make it so dramatic. I mean, I understand that it happens to do that at a certain point, but I believe that the early seasons of that show really did try to do the best that they could to like accurately represent kind of the stuff that we were going through.
how many seasons did it go to? Do you happen to recall?
I mean, I don't really remember it being in the mid 2000s, early 2000s, mid ish, and then going up to like maybe 2008, 2009, 2010. I mean, I think
So
that's kind of when
probably
it
about 10
ended.
seasons, right? And
Yeah.
and I mean I really think that they didn't really stray too much from the original recipe that they
Right.
use, right? I think they started to sensationalize certain things, but it wasn't overt, to use your word. As in, like, go what's the other one? With that Zach Bagans,
Oh, those assholes, those ghost adventures people were.
Ghost Adventures, yeah.
It's like that was clearly, yeah, whatever.
All right, let's continue here.
Number 2, Shattered Glass, Ghost Hunters. The Stanley Hotel is most famous for having inspired
I
the
love this
Overlook
episode.
Hotel in Stephen King's
It's
The
one of the
Shining,
best.
but it also happens to be home to numerous claims of paranormal activity. Ghost Hunters Jason was no exception to this during his overnight stay
I actually
in
don't
room
remember seeing this
401.
episode.
In the early
I watched
hours
every
of the
one of
morning,
these episodes.
Jason
This is
woke
one
to
that I
the
remember very
unmistakable
much.
sound of his closet door opening. Even more frightening, the glass at his bedside table shattered. After ruling out temperature shifts and a tangible force, the team can only assume something supernatural chipped the glass.
This glass actually broke. Here's a piece.
The hair-raising encounters don't stop there, leaving viewers distressed as the hotel lives up to its horrifying reputation.
I don't know about that, but I mean, I feel like that was a fairly good. I mean, okay, it could definitely be edited. They could definitely have done that fakely, right? You have to accept that part of it, right?
Yeah.
But I don't feel like Jason has ever done that, and that's the reason why he's been able to sort of maintain that level of sort of credibility, along with Grant from the show, and Steve Gonzalez and all the people. I don't think that show is like looked at as like a fake like thing until
I
later
would
on.
agree.
Maybe later seasons, like they did some shit that they had to do, but I think at that particular case is like I like what they did there. Could it be fake? Yes. I don't think that that's what they were trying to do. I think they were trying to prove, or at least try to show evidence of some of the stuff that you and I've experienced.
Oh yeah, I mean, gosh, I think were you in the uh McMiniman's Edgefield investigation with us?
I
Were you
was
with us on
it
that?
was a little bit before me, yeah.
Oh, okay, gosh. All right. Because there's a scene in the bed with Jason there that's reminiscent of video footage that that I had set up in the room that I was sleeping in. Kind of, I think it was like room 205 or something like that. That's supposed to be haunted, but um, I had a camera pointed at pointed at the bed, and then I had K2 meter on my on the nightstand,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously it took baseline. I did baseline reading, and then really it was just on the one single green light. Throughout for the most of the night,
Yep.
and then like it almost seems very cliche, but like around 2:30, 2:45 a.m., the K2 meter would react to something, right? And
Yeah.
again, undisturbed. I was freaking asleep. It's not going to react to me snoring. You know what I mean? So
Right. Right.
it's
Right.
it's
Yeah. Yeah.
it's reacting to something, and then ever so slightly, but I couldn't really debunk it. I'm sorry, I could easily debunk it as just movement on my end, but ever so slightly, like my blanket shifted. But it could have been me. It could have been my feet that made a shift. I don't know. But it was just everything else about me was still except for like that one portion. I can't believe I haven't talked to you about this. But yeah,
It's the
that
first
just
time I'm
reminded
hearing
me
it.
of
This
it.
is like breaking news, apparently. But no, but I think that like that those kind of experiences, like, okay, again, we're looking at it through like trying to debunk it and from every perspective that we can. It's like we're not, you and I and a lot of the folks that we worked with are not like interested in just like, oh, everything is real, and we should just like assume everything is like a ghost. It's like the biggest thing that we can do is, and the most responsible thing that we can do, and plus we really genuinely want to know, is there an afterlife? So we're trying to figure out some of the shit, and faking it is not in our best interest to kind of do that. And maybe some of the other shows, I happen to think that this one is probably, I would say, if you're looking at betting odds, I would say 75 to 80%. I back that up 100%. I think that's real. I think that's a real thing that
I
actually
would
happened.
concur. I mean, I don't know how you could explain. First of all, I think it would be pretty fucking scary. If I might have to bleep that, but pretty
And
scary.
he feels that. You can feel that energy through that, right?
Yeah, I mean, and I think it'll be very scary to all of a sudden see like a broken, chipped, glass on the nightstand, and certainly like hearing your closet door. I mean, I think some of these, could in older hotels, it's the hotel settling, right?
Right.
And
Yes.
that could inadvertently unlatch a door and have it open on its own. There's all those things that
100%.
could easily debunk, those things, but yeah, it's pretty compelling. And again, from a show and from ghost hunters that we respect.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll continue here.
Number 1. Aaron thrown at Goatman's Bridge. Ghost Adventures. The historic site of Old Alton Bridge, sometimes known as Goatman's Bridge, was originally part of a Halloween special. A favorite among paranormal investigators, the bridge and its surrounding area is notorious for supernatural sightings and attacks.
It's a bad idea to be up there.
It's not safe outside right now.
It's also home to the disturbing local legend revolving around the titular Goatman. Already anxious about the location, investigator Aaron is inexplicably thrown roughly 20 feet and left disoriented.
You all right?
What happened?
Something just came at me.
Aaron's bone-chilling account of this experience is pretty unsettling on its own, but the atmospheric noise and spooky editing creates a particularly frightening moment.
No. Whoa, dude. I'm sorry.
The other crew members are also confronted by strange phenomena, making this episode not only memorable, but one that haunts them and fans to this day.
I'm looking in here, and something came at me and hit me, and I literally, boom. And I was just, hey, I'm going to go look over here. I wasn't even rolling.
What came at you?
Nothing, I don't know.
See, the reason why I kind of picked that one is because it's exactly why people like you and I get like a lot of shit for believing in something that's real. It's like that was clearly bullshit. You're throwing 20 feet.
Yeah, first of
You
all,
wouldn't be able just to get up and just like attack the other guy who was like, oh, come on, dude.
well, it's tough definitely to believe. First of all, because that it's anything that's immediately paranormal, because could have lost his footing, and I mean obviously they're walking around in the dark,
You could have fallen easily 20 feet.
Uneven surfaces, and he could have just fallen, easily on his own without any much, prodding, paranormal or otherwise. And and the fact that it happens off camera, that even adds a little bit more, questioning of the credibility there.
Yeah.
And plus, it's that crew, it's the Ghost Adventures crew. So,
And that's the one I don't understand. It's like, how do they have any fucking credibility? It's like, I think the Ghost Hunters actually the most. They didn't have a lot of drama on their episodes. It was
right.
mostly about the actual events, and they had some really good evidence of what they did. And this other crew came out like maybe a year or two later after they kind of
Yeah.
reached their peak.
Yeah.
And they're just about like relationships and drama and like reality TV bullshit.
And
That's
always
what it
at
felt like
least
to me.
yeah, and at least every like 3-4 episodes somebody gets possessed, you know.
Yeah, like I've not met anybody who has been pushed 20 feet. Like, shut the fuck up, you dumbass. It's like it's so that's the reason why I wanted that one to be in there. It's like that is the epitome of like bad science, bad people, bad faith as far as their fans go. Like the fans are just like, oh my god, they got thrown 20. Well, did we see that? Do you have any evidence? The Ghost Hunters actually had very good evidence to actually back up what they said. So not scary. I would say, and even I would say, well, I gotta admit that some of the stuff I saw on Ghost Hunters, the original Ghost Hunters, was actually kind of scary, but it inspired me to like try to do more, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I think because we both view things of this nature with
Experience, yeah.
discernment because of experience, right? But to the unsuspecting, certainly, it would be a pretty scary event, right? I mean, because I remember where were we? I think it was a old council. What is it? It was a building downtown Portland where we were in the boiler room,
Starts
and
with a B, I think. Starts with a B.
no, not that hotel, not
Oh,
the
you
hotel,
mean
but in the boiler room.
in
Remember in
the
the
postal service kind of building?
anyways, it's in Old Town, right?
Yeah. Okay.
But
I think I
anyway,
know what you mean. Yes.
yeah, I
Yes.
can't remember. I'm forgetting the name, but it was for those of you who watched the TV show Grimm way back when. The
That's what I was
exterior of
referring.
the build,
Yeah.
the exterior of the police department is that building. And you know how we were in the boiler room, and one of our fellow investigators had a kind of like a drawstring bag that for a backpack type of thing. And not only did she feel, not only did I hear, I also heard like a tap 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 tap, but she felt it like physically on a tap 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 on her backpack drawstring backpack, and I was at least 20 feet away, about the same distance that Aaron was thrown off that bridge, but I was about 20 feet away. And then another investigator was another, 20 feet away. Um, there was nothing there that could have like, that she could have like accidentally scratched the backpack, against, because she was kind of like in the middle of the space. It was kind of creepy, and that one right there was pretty compelling. And of course, that one I did not catch on camera, but my video camera caught the sound, and so that was interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I 100% believe that is real. It's like if you do this kind of stuff, like I remember we went to, I swear to God, it was someplace in Canby, Oregon, which if people want to look it up, it's like a middle of fucking nowhere, and nothing good ever happens in Canby. I mean, some good things happen there, but if you look at where we were and kind of what happened, which wasn't that much, but I remember going to like areas like they show all these fucking people as like all these fucking fugazis, like you're gonna go to the middle of the like I remember going to the middle of like the fucking nowhere in this building, but there's like there was nobody with me. There are no fucking cameras. I'm like, I'm just like expected to like do shit. I think this is one of my first actual investigations.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I gotta prove myself. I gotta want to show everybody else I'm not gonna be fucking freaked out. I was fucking freaked out in the middle of the fucking dark. But when you get into it a little bit, you sort of like listen around you, sort of like try to like gauge the things that are real or not. And so I feel like the real people who do this kind of stuff don't react like the ghost adventurers. They react more like the ghost hunters back in the early days. They're like, oh
Right. Yeah.
shit, this is interesting.
Yeah.
Why don't we try to like figure out why this happened? That's the kind of stuff that I like, and that's the reason why I love Jason and Grant and all those guys for kind of opening the door for some of us.
Well, but you still gotta, admit that there are the people out there, and some of them are actually probably watching this video right now, who
Yeah.
do go to ghost tours and paranormal tours just for the experience, and in the unlikely scenario that they actually do experience something. But they go there because they enjoy it. They enjoy the spectacle. They enjoy the possibility. And that there's a belief there slash
Yeah.
disbelief element. But yeah. But with regard to the video that we reacted to, folks, we will put, as always, in the description box the link to the original video, so you can watch it in its entirety without listening to Mac and I
Pontificate. God damn it. I knew you were going to say that.
on each point. But any final thoughts on this, Mac?
No, I just think it's like it's very good to understand entertainment versus like what I think like actual professionals do, and don't doubt yourself when you're out there doing it. If you're just sort of starting out, take it with a grain of salt at the same time, but look at the evidence, try to be calm, and don't worry. You're not going to be thrown 20 feet by anybody. Okay, come on. Just
Or at
stop.
least bulk up or something so that you don't get easily thrown.
Do some exercise. Yes.
Do you even
beforehand.
lift, bro? This is the ghost asks. Well, if you enjoy this content, please give it a like and share it across your socials to help get the word out about our show. If you hadn't already done so, please subscribe, and on YouTube, hit that notification bell to make sure you don't miss out on future episodes. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.